Welcome to another Gran Turismo Sport Closed Beta Qualifier tutorial. This time around we have the N300 class around Brands Hatch Indy, and this is after the 1.06 update, so this includes all of the new physics and the way the cars act now. And the most important thing about those physics with the new update is the N300 class as a whole is now slower. That's not necessarily a good or bad thing, that's just something we'll have to get used to. And I guess I got used to it pretty cotton picking quick because, well, I finished number one in America, or North America, I guess, when this event became undoable. Like when the group it was in was off the daily race section. I don't really know what the best time in the world was, so it might be me, I don't really know. But I think because the two aren't correlated to the exact same races at the exact same time, I guess I was number one worldwide as well. So that's pretty cotton picking cool, folks. So I'll show y'all how I was able to do my number one either continent-wide or worldwide, depending on the other times. Definitely continent-wide, maybe worldwide. And go ahead and start off. To begin with, I'm in the Audi TTS as always. I seem to always be faster in this car now. And, well, it's fast. I finished first in it. So, I'll go ahead and go into it. The turn before my best lap run. To go into this turn, get as close to that apex as possible with carrying as much momentum as you can to get as close to that apex as possible. And then that'll pretty much just naturally carry your car out towards the other apex, and then you just go on the straight. Easy part here, just full throttle. Before you get to the first turn, you should be going about 108 at the line. I don't think I've been able to carry any more speed than that. I don't know how fast the other cars go, but nonetheless, this seems to be the best car overall. To start going into the next turn, once you get about 112, start braking. And this turn requires some trail braking if you want to do it the best possible, but not too bad. If you go into this turn at about 75 or so, you should automatically go to that apex. Don't go too much in the grass here. It's not necessarily a penalty, just cars act more wonky in the grass now. It seems like in this update than the older updates, which honestly is probably the correct way of doing it. I assume going in the grass in real life around this track probably ain't necessarily the best for the car, so that's fine. And then go off this turn, full throttle, that'll naturally carry your car towards this apex. Definitely do not go in the sand there, but try to get as close to it as possible, because if you get as close to it as possible, that means you're carrying as much momentum as possible. But if you go in the sand even a little bit, you lose all that momentum. And for this turn, start braking almost exactly at 94 miles an hour, like right when you see 94, brake. And then some trail brake here, but not too much. Pretty much if you brake here and get to a little bit below 40, once you're there, you can pretty much go full throttle. And then once you do that, that'll carry your car towards that apex. A lot of this track seems to be turns that like flow with each other. And I think that's why this car is definitely better around this track, and honestly better through a lot of tracks, is this car seems to be better to set up in a flow. I think the Lancer might handle better in general, but this car maintains speed better, so therefore it can go through flowing turns better. Maybe like a long turn, or maybe a short oval or something, the Lancer might be better, or other cars might be better. But tracks like this, I think the Audi's definitely better. And then for this turn, go in at a little bit below 70 and then get a little bit above 60 there. I don't recommend using that apex because the rumble strips there still make the car act weird, which is correct. It's like other tutorials I've done with this track. The apex there should realistically make your car act weird, and it does, but the rumble strips like that don't. You can be on them all day and be perfectly fine. And then for the next turn here, you do have to slow down a little bit with this update before you can pretty much take it full throttle. And again, that ain't necessarily a bad thing. It's just something you have to get used to. Instead of going full throttle, go about 88 or so through the turn. And then that'll carry your car naturally towards the apex of the next turn. Here, you actually do kind of want to use as much grass as possible, because even though your car does act weird when you're in the grass here, it acts weird in a good way because it turns your car in the correct direction. Your car is loose and it's a little bit skiddy, but it skids it in a correct way, if that makes sense. Once you do it, you'll see what I mean. And then once your car starts skidding, trail brake here. I've tried full-on braking here, and it just doesn't really work the best. The line that I take for this turn, I noticed in races, is different than a lot of other people's lines. Maybe this is where I'm gaining time, I don't know. But anyway, once you're there, go a little bit above 50, 52 or so. I think at one point I was at 51 per second. And then you can go full throttle, and that'll take your car towards that apex, and then your lap's pretty much over. Just stay as close to the inside there as possible, so the least distance travel. And there you have it, folks. That'll be your lap. And I know this event isn't up now, but given how the rotations go, this event will probably be up again at some point. And well, I did indeed dandy finish first in the world, as also here. And as for the tune, it's, even with the new update, it's the exact same one that y'all have seen in many other video. It's even the same transmission and stuff too. So as far as I know, that's the best you're gonna make the car, I guess. Again though, even though I did finish first, it's still probably wise to watch a lot of other videos too of the good drivers, so maybe if there were areas that I was worse in, then combine those with the other drivers and then combine that to get the best lap possible. Because as you can see here, 10th and 1st are separated by less than 3/10 of a second. So if you're even a 10th place driver, you could probably get up to 1st in this one. This is a short track with a whole heck of a heap of competitive cars now. It's not just a Lancer Fest now. The TTS is just as strong, and Jiminy Cricket, there's even an Impreza in there now, too. That's impressive, folks. That's impressive. Excuse the pun there, I had to do it. But yeah, that's the N300 Around Brands Hatch Indy with the new update that I guess I'm pretty picking good at. And I hope y'all enjoyed that and learned something from it, and maybe, just maybe, y'all can do a better lap. And hopefully at some point we can get down into the 54s. I think that's doable. I think I can barely get in the 54s. But we'll see what other people can do too, folks. It'll be a good challenge to come when this comes up again. And as always, yeehaw!